Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. In today's video I'm doing 4 different DIYs inspired by 4 different YouTubers. This is going to be so much fun. Let's get started. For this project, I will be using this metal little bucket that I got at the Dollar Tree last year. And the first thing I did was remove that holly because I thought it would just be sticking out a little bit too much while I was working. I'm going to remove the handles on the sides, and all I did was wiggle them up and down until I remove them. Next, I'm going to give the bucket one coat of the chalk Rust-Oleum paint in linen white. You can use any white paint for this, but I just wanted to do it to make sure to cover all that red. It was just so bright, and I would be using the white on top. I didn't think it would look good, so I just gave it one good coat, and now we're ready to start doing the bucket. To decorate the sides of the bucket, I will be using this cotton mop head that I purchased at the Dollar Tree. To remove the yarn from the mop head, you just have to pull on the side because they are connected and you don't want to be pulling the same one at the same time. So I just grab it from the side and pull out the whole thing. And I'm just going in 1/2 inch and hot gluing the yarn to the inside of my bucket. Please use safety here. That's why I have my pink little finger protector there. And that one, you could get 3 of them for $1 at the Dollar Tree. I found it easiest to work in sections. So I grabbed my first section and I'm going to cut it off about inch below the bottom line. I will need that inch to hot glue the yarn to the bottom of my bucket. Each yarn strand is made up of 4 strings, so I'm dividing it into 2 sections. I'm doing this for 2 reasons. The yarn strands are going to be thinner, and also this will help us cover more surface, which will give us for a fuller bucket look on the side, and it's going to turn out beautiful. Now I'm grabbing my yarn strands and I'm trying to keep it as straight as possible from the top to the bottom of the bucket, and I'm just hot gluing them towards the center of the bottom of the bucket and just cutting off any leftover yarn at the bottom of the bucket. Now I'm going to repeat the process until I go all the way around and the bucket is all covered. Very simple. Very easy. I think anyone can do this. I'm going to label this project easy because it definitely was just fun and easy to just sit there and hot glue it. And I think you can use this for many holidays. And if you just keep the greenery inside this bucket, you can use it all year round. To replace the handles I removed, I'm going to be using this soft floral wire that you can find at the Dollar Tree. And the really cool thing about it is it's fairly thick, and you can mold it to whatever shape you want. So I decided to do handles. I'm going to be using these braid beads. You can find these braid beads in the hair section of the Dollar Tree. I measured the length of the wire that I'm going to need by putting my beads on there. And then I'm going to remove the beads. I did not want that green to peek through, so I just went ahead and gave it 2 coats of chalk Rust-Oleum paint in linen white. I highly recommend to use Mod Podge to seal in the white chalk paint or white acrylic paint that you might be using on the handles because it is metal and it'll just flake off. So just add a coat of Mod Podge and it's going to keep that paint in place for a while. Now that my handles are dry, I'm going to feed 7 beads on each one of the handles, then bend the sides and hot glue them to the sides of the bucket. For greenery, you can use anything from Dollar Tree, Walmart, really anything you have on hand. I had my IKEA one on hand, so I just stuck the IKEA little pot, and this one is usually $5 at IKEA, and I got that on sale from what I remember. And that is it. My bucket is done. Simple, easy, and I think absolutely beautiful. Today's video is part of the Inspired Me collaboration. It is hosted by my super sweet friend Amber from DIY with Amber. And along with myself, she invited Daphne from Daphne's Homescapes, Lisa Marie from Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie, and Liz from The Official Craft Nerd. The fun thing about this collaboration is each one of us are going to be doing DIYs that inspired us by the other participants in this collaboration. Now, let's get back to the video. Ever since I got this camera picture frame from the Dollar Tree, I have been so excited to use it. And today we are going to decoupage right on top of it, and we are going to make it vintagey, beautiful, and elegant. So to actually get started on this project, we're going to remove the inside of the picture frame, and then I'm just going to give it one single coat of the chalk Rust-Oleum paint in linen white, just to make sure I have a nice clean surface to work with. And I did paint the front, all the sides, and on the inside of the picture frame. I'm going to be decoupaging this beautiful floral napkin on top of my camera, and I got it at Home Goods on sale a long time ago, but of course you can use any napkin you have on hand. Sometimes napkins come 2-ply, sometimes they come 3, so make sure you get just the design before you start doing it. And I'm going to do it in section. As you can see, I just did the top, and then I'm going to fold it over and then do the bottom. And this is good to do because if you have a certain design or flower, or in my case I had a little butterfly, I wanted to be in a certain place, this was a good way to ensure that I got everything where I wanted. And then to seal in the napkin on top, I'm just putting a nice thick coat of Mod Podge and setting it aside to dry. Next, I'm grabbing a piece of scrapbook paper. I'm grabbing the little plastic that's right on top of the lens, and I'm going to just trace it around my scrapbooking paper and cut it out. This is because my wooden flower is not big enough to cover the whole lens or the picture frame area. I wanted to make sure that the picture frame backing was nice and beautiful. At this point, my camera picture frame has dried, and I'm just using an X-Acto knife to go around the picture frame area, and then using my sanding block from the Dollar Tree, I just went around the picture frame and made sure that everything was nice and smooth. And then I went right along the edges of the picture frame, making sure that everything was nice, smooth, and absolutely beautiful. And like a lot of crafters, I absolutely love doing this part. Grabbing my Mod Podge again, I'm just going around all the edges where I sanded and sealing all the edges in. Grabbing the backing of the picture frame, I'm going to hot glue the circle that we cut out from the scrapbook paper, and I'm going to put it back into the picture frame. Just make sure that you have it the way you want it in there, lock it in place, and then from the front, hot glue the wooden flower in the center of the picture frame. For the camera cord, I'm grabbing this beautiful lace, and this is from the Dollar Tree, and then just hot gluing to the top back of our little camera picture frame. To distress this camera, I'm gonna go just a tiny bit glam. I'm actually using a metallic paint that I got at Hobby Lobby, and this is by Dazzling Metallics in Rich Espresso. You can use a brown, of course, but I wanted just a tiny bit of shimmer, and what I'm doing is just putting some of that paint on the edges, and then just using a dry shabby brush, I'm working it into the edges of my picture frame. I absolutely love how this turned out. For this project, I'm grabbing a Dollar Tree little crate and then this floral paper napkin. And the first thing I'm going to do is just figure out where I want my print to be, because this is a gorgeous napkin. By the way, I got it at Home Goods a long time ago. But as soon as I know where I want everything, I'm just going to cut it out and then just start by Mod Podging it right onto the crate. You can do this in any order you want, but I ended up doing the sides and then doing the front and the back just because there is more work in the front and the back, cutting all the little holes out. So now I'm just doing the front and the back, and I'm just Mod Podging both of the sheets on and letting them dry. After my crate has completely dried, I'm grabbing my sandpaper block from the Dollar Tree and I'm just sanding off the edges from the top and the bottom of the crate. To get rid of the napkin from the narrow areas of the crate, I'm just using an X-Acto knife and I'm going right along the lines right there. And it was so easy and absolutely clean. Now I'm grabbing Mod Podge one more time and I'm going along all the edges and sealing everything in. Now I'm grabbing white nautical rope and I'm going to untwist it because it does come twisted in threes, and I'm just grabbing one strand and I'm going to hot glue it right along the top edge of my crate. And to ensure a seamless look, I always start and end at a corner. To add my florals, I'm first adding some floral foam, and then I'm going to grab these roses from the Dollar Tree and cut the stems about 2 to 3 inches long. The greenery I'm going to be using is from the wisteria flower, and that is from the Dollar Tree. Those are the ones that are really like the long hanging florals, and I absolutely love their greenery. So I'm going to put them in between my roses. And here you go. This is the final result. To start on this beautiful patriotic centerpiece, I'm starting with this galvanized bucket from the Dollar Tree, and it has a little bit of a jute cord on top. It's so beautiful. And I'm going to give it a nice coat of white chalk paint, but I'm not really just painting. I'm going really lightly. And I didn't do this on camera, but please do feel free to seal it in with Mod Podge to make sure it doesn't scratch and things like that. But this is just beautiful. These galvanized buckets, all you have to do is just kind of dry brush the paint on there and it looks so farmhouse and beautiful. Grabbing some floral foam, I'm filling in the bucket so I can get started on the floral. First, I found these stars, and these are from last year, but I managed to get a red, white, and blue, so I'm very excited about that. Next, I am going to grab my hydrangeas, and by the way, I'm keeping all the greenery here and in the other flowers I'll be using because that's what's going to fill in all that space. And all I did was just bend the actual stem and put it straight in the middle. Now for these flowers, one of these bushels or bouquets was just not enough. I did have another one on hand, so I ended up using both of them to make sure I have a nice full centerpiece. And to top it off, I'm just putting in my red, white, and blue little shiny stars, and we are all done with this project.